Hi everyone, my name is Kaylee Nakayama, and this is my senior capstone proposal presentation. And my topic is the globalization of Hallyu culture in America. So, little overview of myself. So, my name is Kaylee Nakayama, and I am currently a UH West Oahu student, um, studying for 4 years over here, and that's all I really plan to do at the moment. I'm aiming for my bachelor's degree. I graduated from Mililani High School in the year 2020. I am a creative media major with a focus on communications and new media technologies. Nice to meet you guys. So here's my executive summary that we're gonna cover throughout the duration of my presentation. So number one is the plans for senior capstone project. Number two is my thesis statement. Number three is the objective/rationale of research conducted. And number four is my significance of my proposed project with my research. And so here's my thesis statement. By taking a look at aspects of Hallyu culture, such as K-pop, Korean dramas and films, and Korean beauty, one can see how it has made changes to American culture for the better in terms of positive Asian representation. So within my project, I really want to focus on how Hallyu culture has really helped to bring much more Asian representation, not only in America, but also around the world. So here's my objective/rationale for the research conducted. Americans tend to be xenophobic towards cultures and languages that are not considered as the majority, but rather as minorities. Unfortunately, Asians within the mainland of America are seen as minorities. And with Hallyu culture, such as like K-pop groups such as BTS, they're really like paving the way for allowing more Asian representation, as well as like the win of like Parasite at the Oscars a couple years ago. It really allowed for more Asians to be within the industry of like media, or even just like giving them more job opportunities. So that's like really interesting to me. And I really wanted to research on that and see how that shift happened. So here's my senior capstone plans. So I wanted to make a project rather than a practicum, because with this topic, I feel like a project would be most ideal to create, and especially a video series. So instead of like a documentary, I like initially thought I wanted to do a documentary, but then I ended up thinking that a video series would be easier, so that each section can focus on one aspect of my topics. For example, like episode 1 would be like on K-pop, episode 2 would be on K-dramas and films, episode 3 would be on Korean like skincare and like beauty. So the appropriateness of this is that a video series will allow the viewer to focus on one section at a time rather than cramming it all into one. I feel like it'll be too much information overload if I put it all into one documentary. So spreading it out within a video series will allow the viewers as well as everyone to get a better understanding of each aspect within my topic. So here's the significance of it all. So significance number one, with the rising popularity of South Korean culture, it really allows for more Asian representation, not just in America, but around the world, just like I mentioned earlier. So what I mean by this is like, with more Asian representation, it will allow for a lot more jobs, as I mentioned earlier, and like a lot more media representation. And like little like Asian girls like myself, like growing up watching TV, there wasn't that many Asian characters. And like example, when I watched Disney Channel, like Hannah Montana, the main character was not Asian, but like usually it was like the side characters. And like, yeah, so I feel like having more Asian representation really allows for um girls and boys growing up to like be able to look up to someone that looks like them. And yeah, so the future implications of this is that the popularity of like South Korean or Asian culture could decrease, which would lead to less representation, but I hope that doesn't happen. So significance number two, the popularity of Hallyu culture could potentially lead to less anti-Asian hate crimes in America. So what's interesting about this is that during the COVID-19 pandemic, anti-Asian hate crimes really was on the rise, because our former president at the time, he used to like call it like the Chinese virus, and a lot of like the people within his government party would call the virus like really nasty things. And I in my research, I realized that 33% of it, like anti-Asian hate crimes have decreased. So 33% in decrease recently. So that's really good. And like I feel like that could like be connected with Hallyu culture because the rise of like popularity of like K-pop, K-dramas, everything like really is allowing for, as I mentioned earlier, more representation and allowing for, you know, more people to give Asians respect. So some future implications of this is that it might not lessen the amount of anti-Asian hate crimes in America, but could potentially increase them. Like as more people see Asians, they might, find it irritating or something. So I really hope that doesn't happen as well. So as I mentioned earlier, so here's some data that I found. 33% is how much anti-Asian hate crimes have decreased from 2021 to 2022, which is amazing. And I really do hope that it continues to decrease. And that was research by Yam and Venkatraman. Yes. And then what's also good is that like as like anti-Asian hate crimes decrease and more people want to invest in Hallyu culture, Netflix actually invested $2.5 billion into only Korean content for the next 4 years on all of their around the world. So this is like Netflix America, Netflix Europe, everywhere. They invested 2.5 billion in like wanting to just have Korean content within their platform. And I think that's really awesome and will allow for a lot more representation for Asians. Like as TV watching is slowly going down, more people are turning to streaming. And so Netflix is one of the biggest streaming platforms out there. And so the more Asian content on there, I think is great for allowing people to, like myself, to look up to people through the media. So my target audience, when choosing my target audiences, I kept in mind what type of project I was creating, as well as the content I will be sharing. And so I chose 3 target audiences. So one is Korean culture fans. So those are who are fans of K-pop, K-dramas and films, and K-beauty would be the easiest to target as they already have an idea of what I'm talking about within my video series. So within my video series, I'll be talking about like, how um Hallyu culture has become so globalized due to its uprising and like how it's impacted America. And so I feel like people who are already fans of K-pop, K-dramas and films and K-beauty will already know some of the information that are within my video project, but to be able to have concrete examples of it will help them bring a better understanding to themselves. And I think it'll be really interesting for them. The next target audience is Gen Z. So individuals within Gen Z tend to have a more open mind towards new information and learning about different cultures. And they also enjoy watching short videos via YouTube and such. And as like for my video series, I figured it would be easiest to upload it to YouTube, as they will be like at least like 10 minutes long each. And I think that, my generation will have the easiest time watching and understanding the videos through YouTube. And then my third target audience is Asian culture, people with Asian culture interests. So those who want to learn more about Asians and their culture would be able to learn more about them through my project and how Asians are treated in America. So within my essay that I wrote previously, I mentioned about like how Asians were kind of treated in the past, like K-pop artists in the past versus K-pop artists now. So I think that it'll be interesting for them to like learn about those who are interested in like Asian culture or just culture in general will be very interested in watching my video series. So my proposed solution is that the intellectual significance to members of my community is that the popularity of Hallyu culture is bringing in more Asian representation to American communities. And this also solves the problem because as Asians become more represented in communities, it allows for more opportunities and respect towards our culture. So I think that within this solution, it will allow for more, as I mentioned earlier, like more opportunities and a lot more respect towards Asians within America and hopefully around the world. So for my preparation slash process for my I'll be collecting videos and pictures and saving them into specific folders like K-pop folder, K-drama film folder, K-beauty folder, and having them ready to go for my video editing process, which is number 2, my production. So I'll be using Adobe Premiere to edit each video in my series, and then also be adding a voiceover to edit the edited videos. So within Adobe Premiere, I'll add on my voiceover over the video. And then number 3 is post it. So I'll be posting my videos of my video series onto YouTube, and then I'll add those videos into one single playlist. So it's easy for the viewers to just click on one and then it'll flow into the next, And it'll just be easier organization wise as well. So yep, and then the pictures show, me researching and the videos, and then a picture of Adobe Premiere, and then YouTube. And then, so for my deliverables, like these are the type of pictures I would be including. So like, for example, BTS at the White House, and then like the Parasite cast getting awarded their Oscar for Best Picture. And then also like popular Korean skincare and beauty products that are currently like trending right now, and that type of stuff. And then for some more deliverables, these are video examples of videos I would include. So like BTS's speech for the United Nations, this was like during COVID-19. So it was a speech that they did towards the youth and like about anti-Asian hate crimes as well. So I think that would fit in perfectly with my video. And then another video I would include is, of course, Parasite winning their Best Picture, and like the speech, because the speech was very heartwarming for Asian Americans as well. And then there's also the CNBC News video on K-beauty, where they interview a co-founder of Soko Glam, which is an online marketplace for K-beauty within the US. And then on the side is an example of like how the playlist would look like. I would title it, and then add in all my videos within my series. So thank you so much. I hope that you guys enjoyed my presentation for my project, and please feel free to ask any questions. Thank you.